Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to thank you for presentations and for valuable informations. And we need to come up with some thoughts and findings so we can enable us to sit down our recommendations for further development in the conference and forum themes. So we need from each of you to give us their belief in a success scenarios. We are in educational institutions and university. And this is the theme of the forum: entrepreneurs, investment, and business, and the role of higher educations or the institutions. So actually, institute of higher educations or university or college have two arms or two pillars to do in issue of entrepreneurships: training and research. So I'd like to know the thoughts and vision from each of the participants in this issue. What do you think? What a success scenarios can we build on in order to do our role in the right way at research institute and academic institution? Thank you. I will start my poll. Yes.
Thank you. Regarding the question, first of all, concerning the research carried out by many researchers, they found that the success entrepreneurs, like 75% of the success entrepreneurs came from the universities. And that is where we can just focus on the role of universities to the development of entrepreneurship. And the second one, concerning my country, we have just adopted the training vocational skills. The government of Rwanda, through the University of Rwanda, created the centers where the young people graduates, and within from the beginning, they can go to the centers, and the entrepreneurship is among the curriculum of the courses that the students should cover. And what is the result? As I mentioned in my presentation, through the competition and the Youth Connect Awards, we found that many of the winners are from the universities. And we found that through the entrepreneurship in the universities, in the centers, has a good result toward the creation of the blue-collar jobs, and it helps to reduce the rate of unemployment. Thank you.
Thank you.
For me, in two ways we can do that. From the institution point of view and from an instructor or teacher point of view. Like from institution point of view, we can have the incubation centers, entrepreneurship centers, like we are starting in our university, so that we can take more and more students there and we can promote them. That's one way we can have more and more courses on entrepreneurship, more and more training to the students, those who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs. Now, the work starts before actually. Before means, if you ask any students, one of our colleagues have presented a paper, they are saying that like 90% of the students don't want to be an entrepreneur. They want to have a white collar job, they don't want to take the risk. Now, for that, where the real work or real thing starts as an instructor, what we need to do, we need to motivate them, we need to get rid of the fear. They have a fear of failure. Most of us don't have the resources, especially the financial resources. If we fail, what after? So that fear has to be removed from their mind, and that can be done by the instructor, that can be done by the teacher, because we know the students personally. He or she is having the appetite to be an entrepreneur, but she don't want or he don't want to be an entrepreneur. Why? That is the fear, like the fear of failure. So I think the work will start from the instructor, and then the institution should support what the instructor or the teacher are trying to do in terms of promoting or developing the entrepreneurship among the students. Thank you.
That means you recommend the institutional support.
Yeah, it is.
For the implementation of any activities.
Any
institutional support also must be followed by financial.
It is. That's most important.
And this must be a part of any research institutions when the institute build strategies, 1 year or 5 year strategies, they need to consider that in their strategies. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, I am going to come from the other side, intellectual property. In my school, we have what we call Intellectual Property Technology Transfer Office, where we see how to get these young entrepreneurial minds to be thinking. So we do seminars, stimulating their entrepreneurial thinking, and that's where we teach them soft skills. And part of those soft skills, we also make them to know how to take risk, like what he just said. And then we have a program where 300 level students always go to our entrepreneurial center to learn any kind of entrepreneurial skills. We have bead making, fishery, piggery, inventions, making of bedside lamps, all sorts of things that they do there. And eventually encourage those of them that want to take it up after school to be entrepreneurs. And we also see how we collaborate using the triple helix model, the government, the academia, and the industry. We invite the industry to collaborate, but we have QTIX industry, is a cable industry in Nnewi in Anambra State in Nigeria, where they collaborated with Igbinedion University in terms of electricals. So they come to the school, teach them what they do in the industry, here in the university, and how to also do manufacturing. And so electrical engineering students are stimulated, they're interested in inventions, they're interested in creativity, and then we come do seminars on intellectual property, policy, trademarks, and all of that, patenting. And so we try to encompass all of these and package them for the outside world for employability. And lastly, NOTAP, National Office for Technology and Acquisition Promotion in Abuja, also have tried to see how the dissemination of knowledge of intellectual property transfer offices are established in universities, including private university. I don't know about his university in Nigeria, but we have IPTTO office in my school. It's in Uniben, it's in Ekpoma, it's in so many schools in Nigeria now. They're trying to blow it up so that all schools be aware of what it takes to invent, of what it takes to patent what you invented, of what it takes to commercialize researches from the research house, which is the university, and then make the world a better place. And then our students being employed and having this employability and not being afraid to go out to face the outside world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My take is on the fostering of entrepreneurship by tertiary education systems in Africa. The African context is my own area of concentration. Now, it is no longer news that part of the problem in Africa that has led to unemployment, I mean, an unsustainable level of unemployment, is that curriculums are increasingly not relevant for industries. Many graduates that have been produced by African universities have very low competence in critical areas of the industrial process and development. So the solution lies in the deepening of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and medicine curricula, so that at the early stage, I mean, at the secondary school level, when students are nurtured with these areas, that can spur their interest in entrepreneurship. And as they come to the university and they undergo training in entrepreneurship studies, then they can also learn the skills, the critical skills that will bring about innovation and creativity as part of their training. And then, like she has rightly said, the collaborative framework between universities, industry, and government is also a very critical aspect of nurturing entrepreneurs. It is a source of sustainable funding that is needed to entrench entrepreneurship, to support graduates when they finish school so that they can engage in startups and be provided with some capital that they can rely upon to support themselves at the initial stages of nurturing a business venture. So when all these issues are addressed adequately, I believe that it could make a lot of difference in entrepreneurship.
Thank you. Like my colleagues in front of me have elaborated on the area of networking as well as curriculum development, I'd like to add that, for example, at my university, in order for us to develop the entrepreneurial skill and mindset for young people within our university, not just from a program perspective, the academics had come together. We also do a lot of collaborations with government to see what they want, the CEDAs, etc. The business group like Trade and Investment KwaZulu-Natal, that is where my university is in Durban, so that we know what opportunities out there and what gaps are there and how shall we say, mindfully approach these areas for our students in order to get funding as well as in order for them to develop themselves. Further, to take it further, we also look at areas like developing workshops, seminars. We also partner up with other organizations like corporates, and we do, how shall we say, I mentored 2 students for L'Oreal branding, and it was a competition nationally throughout all our universities in South Africa, and my boys were placed number 4. But they had to come up with an innovative brand strategy for a new market segment that was Black women and their hair, which is very different from the traditional European stance L'Oreal takes. So they had to look at different approaches, etc. And at the end of it, my both boys were given positions of employment, trainee brand manager, and one went into financing within L'Oreal. The idea behind it is, yes, I do spend a lot of time mentoring, but through mentorship and developing these students, you find a world of possibilities and opportunities. Further to that, in terms of curriculum development, for example, I teach in the business school, and one of the things is to train entrepreneurs, but this is in the marketing field, in the diploma of marketing. So one of the things we would give them in the curriculum, I mean, we don't want to see just something on a case study. We go further and we say, okay, develop a digital plan for a small business for you. We want to see it. Are you put in place all the relevant elements, etc., from a practical aspect? Put it forward and we critique them. This is part of assessment. So in this way, we're integrating into our curriculum some important ICT skills, etc., which is vital in order for the students to embrace technology, to embrace the spirit of entrepreneurship. If I take it further, I also do a lot of collaborative work. For example, it's a give and take relationship. I volunteer my services and they to business, and they volunteer some of their top executives to come and speak to my students. For example, I mentored and I supervised a student for his PhD. He was the first port engineer I come from a history of apartheid, so he was the first non-white port engineer in the biggest harbor in the southern hemisphere, which is the Durban Harbor. And he came out, I was teaching to the MBAs innovation and new product development. So I brought him in as a guest speaker and I said, please elaborate to the students what you do in your daily life. So he gave the example, in the last few years, the Durban Harbor has gone through immense changes in terms of increasing the size and the width, because the hulks, the front of the ships weren't big enough to get in, and you need a certain level of water in order for it to come in and not get damaged. So what they had to do is they had to basically make the harbor bigger. And what they did was they had to use computer simulations to manage, because they built, I think it was from here, 3 times the size of this room, height-wise, these structures, steel and brick structures, that they had to then take by tugboat, pull through the water, right? And then have it stand up straight and then seal it so that you can get the barrier. But however, remember, each structure costs about between 3 to 8 million rands. And the process is very intricate, because by 1 centimeter to an engineer can cause the structure to collapse. And you wouldn't believe this. They were getting it wrong. So they went back to the drawing board. They used the software simulation packages, etc. So how to get this boat to tug at a certain angle? Something as simple as spray and cook, you spray to do your eggs, etc., spray and cook. They sprayed onto the tugboat one of the things that the easel part, so that it was tugging. And that was used, they used tons of it, I think every shop, and they got it done. So it's amazing how you can have guest speakers come in and partake in their knowledge to improve innovative ideas to our students, so that the culture of entrepreneurship can continue. Thank you.
Okay. In the interest of time, I'll limit my comment on 3 core functions of university, which is teaching, research, and community services. First of all, I think the university, they need to partner with industry and do a tracer study to establish what industry needs from university, especially graduates, qualification. So the university, what they're supposed to do is to have this regular update on what the labor market needs. So they can have tailor-made course. Industries, what industries need from university, because you'll find some of the universities, they still keep I'm not saying outdated courses, but some of the courses, they are not in high demand in labor market. For example, I don't want to be offensive, but for example, you're producing 1,000 archaeologists, but the labor market does not need that much. So you need to have that regular tracer study. The other thing is, apart from the industry, you need to have the regular contact with your alumni, because they are the one on the labor, on the field. So at least they can give you up some updates. With regard to research, as one of the colleagues said, we need to commercialize what we research on, because there's a tendency that most of the findings, most of the studies we are doing, both faculty and students, they lie on the library shelf there, and they're not utilized. But that, when we commercialize it, at least we should patent that, as colleague from Nigeria said. With the issue of community services, it is not an offense for a university to be an entrepreneurial university. We have success story. For example, I'm coming from Dar es Salaam. At our university, we have a huge tract of land. So university decided to portion some of it and build, with partnership with a private investor, they had a shopping mall where the university gets some money from the rent. The other thing, okay, there is someone ahead from Kenyatta. Kenyatta also, they have success story, because you have a nice hotel in Mombasa, North Coast Hotel. You have tried to build the shopping mall within the campus. I don't know whether it's still in operational. So we have at least success story. Yes? It's still there? Oh, good. So the university itself can be an entrepreneurial, so that these graduates, they can learn from even from the university. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think this is a general thoughts and idea. And besides that, we need to think about linkage and collaborations, partnership with different regions and with international bodies, and even linkage and partnership with the sponsors and producer at the same time. Thank you very much. Now I will give you the floor. If someone like to comment or to ask questions, then we can close our session.
My name is Revocatus. I'm from Tanzania, Sokoine University of Agriculture. Actually, as referring to the entrepreneurial is concerned, you know, the issue starts from the mindset with the young ones. When the university receives the students, they already came with a different mindset in the university. And now you want to inculcate in them the entrepreneurial mind. They have already, from the family background, the family has already inserted something different. And then when you come and you want to change them into an entrepreneurs, that's where the problem starts on. So we need to also look at how we can integrate from the lower level, like from the primary school up to the university, so that they can connect. And in the university, as my colleague has said, it's more of lecturing other than hands-on. So you'll find even those who are lecturing, they also don't know entrepreneurials. They just Google about entrepreneurship and they go into class to teach about entrepreneurship. Then what do you expect? If you are teaching something, you just get it from the internet, and then you want the student to pick up and go and do an entrepreneurial activities. And this is the reason we have also established a center in our university. It's called the Sokoine University Graduate Entrepreneurs Cooperative. Now it's trying to promote youth to get involved into agriculture as business now. We are focusing to agriculture because this is one of the sector that has a big potential to attract more of the youth if they go into that and invest into agribusiness for self-employment. And from that regard, we have just started seeing at least people are changing their mindset, and especially for the Africa. The potential is in agriculture, but the youth are not interested in agriculture. Why? This is because since they are young, agriculture and employment is two different things. They have a category. You go to the school, you register your name, you said my father is agriculturalist, and someone else said my father is employed. So they grow with this kind of mindset. That's.
Thank you.
What was our colleague saying is correct. The mindset. The families would like to see a model of success to be encouraged so they can encourage their kids. So this is true, this is a conflict. But if the government and the ecosystem has provided a good base of knowledge about entrepreneurship and the role that it plays in the society and the economy, let's say in the national project, definitely the families will follow because they are confident something good is going to happen to their kids. So I think this is a crucial and important point we need to look at, and maybe it needs research. If we ask the families, what do they want their kids to do in a sort of social societal research, maybe we can receive something that will help us in building strategies to meet these needs. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jean-Claude. I am from Rwanda, and I want to thank all the intervention, but I have just one thing that I want to share with you. It's related to what my colleague from Tanzania just said about the lecturer themselves, because we found that as technology is moving very fast, the role of education and university should also try to move at the same level. Otherwise, what happens is that you have the student graduating from university, holding degrees, bachelor degrees, masters, or engineer, but on the ground, they are not so practical. They have so many theories, they know so many things, but on the ground, they are not so practical. And as they have just said, it's a matter of preparing the student for the labor market. But then comes the technology. And this is something that should get just balance between the theory and the practical. And my question is how practical, or what is the advice that you could give, or the way that can be found? Because now in Rwanda they are trying to review the curricula in order to have a certain percentage that is more balanced between theory and practice.
Thank you very much. I think we are now time to finalize our sessions, but don't worry, we build a networking and communication policy. So we'll communicate together in a forum to discuss all the issue until we find out how to establish our policy in Africa. We will continue in that. Okay? Last comment for you, and last.
Okay, thank you. I'm Lydia from Ghana, but representing University of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. I'm just giving a little contribution to what you just raised. The university is for theory, as it is for theory. So what we have to do with the collaboration, as we just said, developing the curriculum, the industry can say we need experience, but the university, we can just work with the industry and just influence them that they can take our students during the internship, so that through there they'll be able to gather the practical experience. So the short vac and the long vacation, they can take them. I think it will help, because basically the university is for theory. We are now trying to challenge the practical aspect into it. So we should try to influence, or try to, in other way, what should I say, talk to the industries so that they can help our students, that during the internship, they can help them to pick the practical aspect of it, then the long vac or during the vacation, or try to set up an entrepreneur unit like my university in Ghana. We have Entrepreneurship Training Center, where we've come up with so many innovative ideas that the students are able to come up with their own training activity. So it will help them to really help the students in other way.
Okay, thank you very much. I like to thank the presenters and the organizers of the conference to give us this opportunity to be together as Africans to share our experience. And I think this will be a start for our further communications and contacts. So we already formulate networking, so we'll communicate until we reach our policy in Africa and to expand it to other regions. Thank you very much, and thank you, the organizers, and thank you all.